What's up, adventurers? It's day 2 here at the Wigwam Village number 2 in Cave City, Kentucky. Got a good night's rest. Very quiet, very cozy. Can't recommend enough coming and staying here. These places like this are privately run by a family, not a big multi-million-dollar hotel conglomerate. It's run by a husband and a wife. They thrive on your monetary support coming and staying here. A lot of people come by and drive by the road, snap a quick photo, and then they're on their way and they leave. That's great and all, but the owner was talking to me, and I was talking to him last night, and they need more support, and I'll show you what they've got in mind, what they're trying to do, and what they want to do to the property. He's owned it since 2020, and he's got a really cool idea about what he wants to do. So I'm walking up now to the road, and what would happen would be you'd pull off the road here and they'd have gas pumps would be right here, and we'll walk over there in a minute. And then you'd have right here in the big wigwam, you'd have restaurant, office, and a gift shop. And then here is your women's room or men's room, and then over here would be the men's room tent. And so the idea was to get people off the road. And this used to be the main thoroughfare to get to Mammoth Cave National Park. This was it right here. And of course, over the years, they've built more highways to get you into Mammoth Cave. But this one was the original way to get in. So the owner that built this, he built his first 2 wigwam motels here in Kentucky. Very first 2, wigwam number 1 and wigwam number 2. Wigwam number 1 was torn down, and so this is the only one left in Kentucky. And he had a pretty brilliant idea. He was going to get people to interact with one another when they're weary road travelers, stay in wigwams next to each other. It's funny, we did this last night. We got to know some of our neighbors, an elderly couple that was here doing a little staycation from down the road at Lincoln's birthplace. And we were talking to them. We'd found another lady that was here sipping some wine last night. And so this is the hotel sign. And as you can see, the Coca-Cola sign and the wigwam number 2, and open since 1937. So what the idea would be, though, is you pull in off the road here, and as you're driving, you'd see the sign, and you'd see the flag, and you go, look at that, that looks neat. And he'd pull you in, and you'd see the neon. The neon still works. He had to disconnect it because he's working on this big TP, and I'll tell you in a minute what his plan is for that. So the idea was you'd come in. They had a luncheonette counter in there. They could cook you up a sandwich, a hamburger, anything you wanted. They had a fry in there. I mean, it's basically a small Waffle House is what they had inside here. And yeah, so you get your gas right here, and you can see where the gas pumps used to be. And you get your gas here, and then fill up, and then head on in to the restaurant. And they'd get you with, checking into the hotel or anything else. So here's the inside. And as you can see, it's pretty big. You could hold 500 people. You could hold 500 people around the perimeter of the wigwam, and he wants to turn it into a coffee shop, and I think that would be really awesome. And the basement is where the gift shop was, and I don't know how to access the basement, but this was the big one, and this is the one that you'd see when you came off the road. So yeah, and then as you walk around, here's all the different areas, and this was the restroom here. This was the men's room, because I thought these were actually single tents, but it looks like these were actually the restrooms. And then you walk over here, and this side, I think the basement's right here. I think this would have been the basement. Had to have been. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my thought. Anyways, walk over here past this tree, and here is the men's room. So looks like they just took the women's room sign off of the other restroom, and this is the men's room right here. So kind of a clever idea. They get you to come use the restroom. You walk over here, here's your restaurant, here's your hotel office. And so, yeah, this is where, and he wants to turn this into a coffee shop. I think that'd be great. But if you look right there, this had all the implements on the inside of it for a restaurant. You cook your burgers and everything. And I'll have to find some photos to show you guys. But this is basically the entire facility and what it looks like. Built in 1937. 2 years before my favorite movie, The Rocketeer, took place. And some of these are singles, some are doubles, and some are twins. And some are fulls. So it's no king or queens. You wouldn't be able to fit them in here. It's just not enough space. But this is the general idea. In the middle last night, they did have a fire. Here's all the little toys and things. Well, adventurers, this is Buc-ee's number 2 for this trip. We're now in Kentucky. And so let's go exploring. I just checked out of the wigwam. Let's go explore Buc-ee's now. All right, welcome to the Kentucky Buc-ee's. So this is my first trip to any Buc-ee's in the state of Kentucky. And the layout was pretty much the same, but this one was, interestingly enough, not as crowded as some of the ones you might see off the I-95 South Corridor or the ones in South Carolina. This one was actually relatively, I'd say, move-aroundable. It was big on the inside, don't get me wrong. So I wandered around a bit and just got the lay of the land. And I'll let you kind of walk around, listen to the sights and sounds of Buc-ee's, and I'll come back in a minute with another voiceover. So I was looking at the Bluebell ice creams. They do have a new orange creamsicle style one. Definitely check that one out if you get a chance. Some really good flavors. The blackberry one, is probably really my favorite. So I moved along here a little bit and just took a look around at some of the t-shirts. I like their Kentucky Buc-ee t-shirt for sure, and I like the fact that it rhymes Kentucky Buc-ee. And yeah, I mean, this was early in the morning, so they were still doing breakfast service, but it was just, as you can see, it's not that crowded as most other of the Buc-ee's I've been to. So I was looking through the sodas and I noticed they do have Big Red. They didn't have Big Blue though. But the thing I found most interesting is they have Ale 8. And Ale 8 is, oh, there's Big Blue. They did have it. Ale 8 is a sweeter Kentucky-based ginger ale. I spoke to one of the ladies at the hotels I was staying at and asked her what Ale 8 is. And she said, yeah, it's like a sweeter Kentucky-based ginger ale.
breakfast sandwiches were pretty much the usual egg bowls, egg sandwiches, and things like that. I definitely recommend, if you haven't had it yet, the bean potato burrito. Super good for breakfast, very light, and if you're just not wanting something that's super heavy, that's definitely one to go with. The beaver tots are always a winner. But yeah, didn't have any of the apple pies out or the peach cobblers, but all the other stuff was there. But I have noticed that all the Buc-ee's are starting to carry the Carolina barbecue sandwiches, so the mustard base, which is interesting because I did go to the one in South Carolina, and I noticed that one had it, and I figured for sure that was just a South Carolina thing, but it's not. But everything else was pretty much the same, so I'm just going to let you guys, again, enjoy some of the ASMR of Buc-ee's.
So there is a theory going on online that this is the Old Navy trucks. I don't know if you guys remember back in the 90s when Old Navy had these trucks on the inside of them, and Old Navy got rid of that vibe. People were saying that maybe this is that Buc-ee's bought a bunch of these trucks. What are your thoughts? Do you think Buc-ee's bought one of these and put them in all their gas stations? You tell me. Dear God, they're multiplying. Oh my God, they're multiplying. So every time I come into a Buc-ee's, I have to try on a Justin cowboy hat. This one looks pretty good on me. I think it might be a little too big though. What do you guys think? I kind of think I could pull off a cowboy hat. License and registration. I think this one fits a little bit better. Oh, I think I'm gonna rock a cowboy hat here. What do you guys think? Definitely. Okay, so I started this video in Kentucky at Buc-ee's. Well, I'm now in the Midwest, just outside St. Louis, and I'm in front of this awesome 1973 Winnebago. I just found the competition to Buc-ee's, and Buc-ee's, you better look out, because Wally's Great American Road Trip, well, they're coming for you, Buc-ee's. And the inside of the Wally's is very similar to Buc-ee's. So I'm going to show you some things that I found very interesting here, and I think that, again, I think Buc-ee's is going to have a little competition, because this might be the Coke, the Pepsi to the Coke, as far as gas station experiences go. This might be it. Let's check out Wally's, the Great American Road Trip gas station. So they've already got my vote. They're using old road trip cars for decorations. They've got a Jeep Wagoneer here. This is probably, I'd say, a late 70s, early 80s Jeep Wagoneer, similar to the one that John Candy drives in The Great Outdoors, one of my favorite movies. Show you something else. Okay, so on the outside, we've got lots of gas pumps, just like Buc-ee's. 50, I'd say, I think there's at least 50 gas pumps. Let's go inside and take a look. All right, so we're going into Buc-ee's competitor, Wally's, and this is their mascot. This is Wally. And we're in Fenton, Missouri. All right. Let's go take a look here and see what else we got. All right, this is Wally, their mascot right here. Here we go. I think I'm gonna have to get him. They've got Wally blankets here.
So glad Wally's could do that. It is never done.
So, as you could hear, there's copyrighted music playing, so I have to do a voiceover. So this is Wally's, and Wally's is the Midwest answer to Buc-ee's. It just started in 2020, and it's not as old as Buc-ee's. Buc-ee's has been around since about the 80s, and they started their Mega Buc-ee's in 2001. So these guys are new, but boy, are they coming for Buc-ee's hard. And I mean, this is a copy-paste operation with a few differences. The first one being some of the food options, like popcorn instead of, some of the other Buc-ee options. But one other thing I noticed was they weren't as crowded, and some of the employees weren't as fun, and they don't yell out fresh brisket on the board. seemed kind of, I don't know, just something slightly different. It reminded me of the Superman comic in the Bizarro world.
So these are their road trip glasses. I don't know why they call them this, but I kind of like them.
So as you can see, we've got beer koozies, usual stuff, air fresheners, and there's more of their logo. Their design was very 1960s sort of road trip. It looks a little similar to the original OG Disneyland logo. And they're going for like mid-century road trip. And I kind of like their vibe, I'll be honest. Their design, their logo design, their mascot design, the colors, I like it. Okay, it's a little more it's got a little more going for it than the simple Buc-ee's logo. Buc-ee's is very to the point, it's just the Buc-ee logo, but this is very, again, 50s, 60s, even a little bit maybe in the 70s road trip vibe. So I don't know. I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it's going to Harry, I'm trying on a silly hat. I don't know if it's going to do the numbers that Buc-ee's does. But it's definitely something to look at if you're in the Midwest. I don't know if they're going to spread like Buc-ee's have, but I like the logo. And I ended up getting some collectibles here because why not? Now, here was the difference. Buc-ee's does not have a display with taxidermy. These guys have a bear and I believe a raccoon and a squirrel and a fox, all wearing, and some of them wearing Wally's goods, some of them using Wally materials like the beer koozie. So yeah, this is something a little bit different that Buc-ee's does not have. This whole section was dedicated to camping supplies with camping chairs and camping implements. Buc-ee's does have a camping section, so this is kind of, again, just a little more copy-paste action happening here. And they've got Rumple and your usual stuff you might see in an REI co-op. Their prices were not cheap. Much like Buc-ee's, they were standing on business with their prices. So the Winnebago, can we talk about it? It's a 1975 Winnebago, and they won me on that because I like old travel culture, and they've got three Jeep Wagoneers from the 80s out there in the front, and two Winnebagos, one inside and one outside that's light blue. So that caught my attention right off the bat. They've turned this old Winnebago into a merchandise display, and they won me on this right off the bat. Buc-ee's doesn't do anything like this, and I thought this was neat, and I really appreciate the attention to detail. So it's time to go now over towards the food section. Here's more stuff, the small women's section here. It's a little more fun than Buc-ee's, not quite as southern. And why all the Troop Beverly Hills stuff? If anybody knows, did it take place in Missouri? Anyways, we're moving on. So here's more logos, and there's Wally, and there's the logo. And there he is again with some of his friends. Again, a lot more stuff going on with it than just the simple Buc-ee logo. So yeah, here's some silly, fun, whimsical things. And the Buc-ee's has some whimsy like this, but it's not the same. They're going for like that 70s show, whimsical travel vibe. But here is the sandwich meat board, and they've got burgers, they've got sandwiches, and a guy in the middle with the board. He came back later, and they've got all the same setup in the middle of the gas station that a Buc-ee's would have. They got pulled chicken and cheese tots. Again, that's a Midwestern thing. They've got hot dogs. There's so much, and this is a copy paste. And they have a smash burger and their own flavor of chips. Here's the pastry section, and as you can see, pastries very similar to Buc-ee's. Slightly different color schemes, but everything is the same. Maybe slight differentiation here and there, but it's all the same. Now, they do have an ice cream section. I don't think Buc-ee's has ice cream like this, serving ice cream. And I don't recall Buc-ee's having a smash burger, but this one's got a smash burger and a barbecue section. So the popcorn, I'll show you guys in a minute. They're real big on caramel corn. They even had, this is banana pudding that looks exactly like the Buc-ee's banana pudding. I mean, down to the crumble on top. It's not coconut banana pudding, but you know, I mean, it's literally splitting hairs. Same setup, same pricing. This is the Coke to the Pepsi, or Pepsi to the Coke. This is the Domino's to the Pizza Hut. And this place is unapologetic about it. They are not even trying to cover up the fact that they're copying Buc-ee's, all the way down to their cartoon mascot. Here's the ice cream section. And a lot more booze. Buc-ee's doesn't have their own booze cooler to walk in. This place does. So out of curiosity, I walked into the soft drink section looking to see if they had Big Red or Big Blue. They did have Big Red. Again, they are really, really coming for Buc-ee's here. So continue to walk and just taking a look around at everything. And believe it or not, I saw some billboards on the way in advertising their super clean bathrooms. Again, coming for Buc-ee's. And Spoosh is, I think, their ices or Frosty. They call it a sloosh. I'm sorry, sloosh is like an icy. And yeah, I mean, otherwise they do have Stuckey's, which is pretty awesome. Whenever you see Stuckey's, it's an old Southern gas station chain, and they have they're like chocolate or caramel covered wood peanut logs. And here's all the different things with the Wally's logo on it. Again, they're going for that 1970s 80s sort of a vibe. Even the keychains look like it. And there's their mascot, Wally himself. I ended up getting a Wally. I couldn't help it, in a reusable bag. Here's their coffee section. Same setup as our good friend Buc-ee, except, you know, a little bit different color scheme. Here's their animal crackers. Let's look at beef jerky. And yes, just like Buc-ee's, they have tons of flavors of beef jerky. And it's just like Buc-ee's. So no different. Here's their grill, and yes, they do made to order sandwiches, chicken tendies, just like Buc-ee's. So, except with a little bit of some Midwestern flair thrown in there, you know, some things that people in the Midwest might like cheese curds. Here's the popcorn. Buc-ee's does not have popcorn. They have all sorts of caramel corn and sweet popcorns you can think of. I think they have some salty ones too. More weird Troop Beverly Hills. Not sure why they have that there, but they did. Kind of random. And as you can see, I just showed the reusable Wally bag that I got and a stuffed Wally. So here's all the Wally's t-shirts and other items here, just like Buc-ee's, minus sort of the southern. It's not Buc-ee's.
Well, that's going to do it today from the weird, bizarro Buc-ee's called Wally's here in just outside St. Louis. So these actually started here in Chicago, in Illinois, and it's not exactly Buc-ee's, but I'll be darned if it's not similar. I do like the old cars out front, the Jeep Wagoneers, and just kind of going for that road trip vibe. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Please make sure to like, follow, subscribe, Adventuring with Chris. If you want to make a donation, I've got a PayPal link set up to keep this trip going, keep these trips going. Be sure to follow me on Instagram, Adventuring with Chris. I'll catch you guys on the next one.